Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/mindgappodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/mindgappodcast. Mind Gap Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I am Doug.
I am Justin.
And welcome to the show, a return guest, the magnificent and wonderful Robin Menkins. Welcome back!
Whoop.
How are you?
I'm well. I've been trying to just find the joys during this time and making it do with what I have and finding all the joys. Like I said, second time. Ooh.
That
As
just
humble
means
as
you're
ever.
really looking for the joys.
Yeah, good for you.
Yes, I'm really looking for the joys during this pandemic time.
I think that's really important, because it's too easy to focus on the negative. So by actively searching for the joy, it's too easy.
What are some joys that you might have uncovered?
Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful to be working the Mad Hatter's Gin and Tea Party because a lot of actors are not working. And
Yeah.
the fact that they found it in their hearts to choose me to do this, I'm like, I really, it's been very humbling for me. Instead of like, oh yeah, I'm the shit, I feel so humbled because on my timeline on Facebook, I just see a lot of artists saying like, oh, I miss this. I miss going to audition. I miss, even people who have come to the show, they'd be like, oh, I miss this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, tell us what it is.
What is this Mad Hatter Tea Party?
Tea and Gin Party.
Well, it is an Alice in Wonderland based immersive show, and it is an alcohol company who has a gin called Rabbit Hole, and so it just fit that they would have it like Alice in Wonderland themed, and so they're just trying to test out their new gin products. They have like this whiskey gin thing that really gets people fucked up every time they come. Like people get like off their ass. And so it's crazy. It's insane. I'm like, wow, I don't feel as bad anymore. Like if I've ever been like intoxicated or something, like wow, professional people, like I'm like, this is great. So anywho, just testing out their new products, and it's all based around instructions. They have like really cool things that make the gin change colors. They have like smoking caterpillar is one of the drinks, and it's like bubble smoke that comes out of the drink. It's really
That
cool.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I play the March Hare, so I have to wear like bunny ears and like this tail.
Well, that's cool. Where
Yes.
if is this like something that you can just do you have to do a reservation for it? Can you just show up? Like how does it work and where is it at for everyone?
Yep. So this show was actually supposed to come out during the summer, but then the pandemic hit and it put everything on pause, and so people bought tickets way ahead of time, and so now everyone bought tickets, but for some reason people don't show up sometimes. So I will say that you can come and be on standby, like at other theaters do it all the time, where they're like they're sold out, but just in case somebody doesn't come, you can get rush tickets. So this is kind of the same thing here, where if somebody doesn't show up, like a lot of people, like each show is sold out, but sometimes we can let people in because they didn't show up. So
Now,
yeah.
if someone were to come by and say, "Hey, I heard about this on Mind Gap podcast," do you think there's a chance that they would get like a like a meeting to the head of the line or something?
Yeah,
Special.
they can say my
We
name.
know the guys. Wink, wink.
Exactly that. If they just like, they can use my name and be like, "Yeah, I know Robin," and then they can get in. As
Perfect.
long as there's a seat, because we are in COVID, pandemic times. Because like
Yes.
the show is completely spaced out. It's COVID friendly. None of the actors touch. We don't touch the audience members unless you come with somebody and and you're familiar with them and you're comfortable enough to. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, say my name and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, come on." So yeah, try that. It's in the South Loop.
Nice.
Beautiful. Right in my neighborhood.
That's like my old stomping grounds. Till I moved out to the
It is
burbs.
in your neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Yep.
Doug lives
Oh,
way out in the
you.
suburbs.
I
I
remember now.
do. I used to live right next door to this lovely guy
Nothing
over
wrong.
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Slotty calling out in the
Yeah.
chat. He's calling out SLC Burgers for life.
Yeah.
If you happen to be in Chicago and you want a burger that's going to make you regret your decisions, go to SLC and you'll be it's the only time in life you're going to be very happy that you regret your decision.
I don't know.
I call it a
Oh,
dichotomy
where's
burger.
that?
South Loop Club.
Yes, it is the corner of State and Balbo. Yeah. Those who
Okay.
know.
Good to know.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast brought to you by South Loop Club, located at State and Balboa. Go there and regret your decision.
Well, the reason we're excited to have Robin on is because Robin, in our continuing series of Quarantine Files guest, Robin is starring in the episode 3, which comes out this coming Friday. And your episode was written and directed by Mr. Adam Smeestad, and it deals very heavily with aliens.
Aliens.
Very exciting. Adam is so fun. I didn't even realize he was that funny with number. I don't remember what episode that was, but he was putting on a hand sanitizer, and then when he started rubbing his head,
Yeah.
that was so funny.
Adam is one of my favorites. He's got real good comedic sensibilities. So
He's a treat.
yeah. But yeah, we're really
Yeah.
excited. I had a lot of fun with your episode because we got to get a little kind of heady with it, and we had props, and it's out there, but it's really fun. Like, what did you think of filming?
Yeah. Yes, I watched it and I thought it was really cool. I love the underscoring music. I really enjoyed working on it in general. I feel like I had a little bit of experience with camera angles with the project right before, and so I felt more confident to just be like, yeah, I can give them what they need in terms of
Yeah.
like having confidence in with camera angles and things like that, since it's so remote. And so that was just a really good experience just to collab. Like, that was great.
What was you said you had experience, so what was the project you were working on before that gave you that experience?
It was called Alas, directed by Michael Miha, through Trapdoor Theater.
Okay.
And so it was so we only worked with one monologue from the entire show, and each person took on different lines and different angles and different prose of theater, like just different emotions. Like, can we see you go from happy to being happy to being sorrowful in this one take? Can we see you go from being joyful to being like completely like rocked off your shit, and then like like how far can you really take it?
Yeah.
And so it was a very sweaty experience for me because it was my first time like trying to work, and it was in the heat of the summer. So I was just trying to work, and then I don't know if you seen the makeup for it. I just had this alien looking like makeup, and I had this huge pigtails with this huge braid, and it was a very hot experience, but it was amazing. So it took a while. It took at least a couple of days for me to film each thing.
Yeah. I saw a still from it, and yeah, your get up, makeup and costume and everything looked really intense. Is there some place that people can go online to check that out right now? Because I definitely think that anything that has been filmed remotely, anything that has been created here, I think people need to go consume as much of that independent stuff as possible.
Absolutely. I would just recommend everyone going to Trapdoor Theater's website and just seeing what they have available because it might not be streaming right now, but they also have a couple of other projects going on. Like I believe it's called like Monsieur Dayon is a Woman, where there's this guy who is a company member at Trapdoor, um, and he explores his sexuality in a certain time frame where it wasn't so accepted. And so it's really great to see um, Z to see Z work in that environment. Pronouns? Okay, yes, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm always like messing up pronouns and things like that. So yeah. I would
That's
just go on the
fine.
We're
website,
all
look at
learning, so it's
Trapdoor.
totally fine.
There's a couple of things coming out. Yep. Yep. Yes. It just seems like it's a little bit easier for some folks.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Like just seeing how they like put it into conversation. Like for
Yeah.
example, I hate to like veer off so fast like this,
No,
but
that's
for
what we
example,
do
like
here.
people who go by they, them. No, but like people who go by they, them, have you ever heard of, how that people can say like, I said good day, sir. I said
Yes.
good day, sir. Like the whole thing with that line.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, sir, I said good day. So it's like it makes me think, do people ever say, I said good day, them. Them, I said good day. Because like, there are people who go by the pronouns of they, them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, what? So can I not participate? So then it makes me question, can I not participate in certain sayings and things with that person? It just makes it so sensitive. And
Yeah, I think,
yes,
and we've talked about it a little bit on this show before, where I think it just takes from everyone. Like, I think it takes understanding and patience because I think
yes,
it comes back to
agreed.
intent, right? Like, if I am speaking with an individual who goes by they them, who identifies as that, but I refer to them unknowingly, refer to them accidentally, or
Yeah,
just by muscle memory, refer to them by what I perceive as their gender.
that's
The
very
intent
true.
is not, there's no maliciousness behind the intent of what I'm saying.
Right.
And as long as they can be, cool and go, actually, not he, they, I'd be like, great. I totally get it. And
Yep.
now I've got that locked and that's where we're going to go from now on. But I think
Yeah.
there
Yep.
needs to be that, like Doug said, everyone's learning. We're all just we're trying to get to
Right.
the new normal and figure out how we all can be inclusive. And I think
Right.
it just takes some patience.
Exactly. And the last thing that you want to do is be offensive. Like you don't
Right.
want
No.
to, because everybody, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry. Sorry to
But
veer off like that.
No. There's no apology for going down a mind gap road here. That's fine. We demand that sort of content on this show. So thank
that is the
you,
literal
Robin.
name of the show.
Yes. Thank you.
But I wanted to
Okay.
get back to your episode of the quarantine files because, like I said, it deals with
Yes.
aliens, and a couple
Yes.
shows ago, Doug and I had a pretty in-depth discussion. Did we have a guest on that episode or not,
Nope.
Doug?
Just you and me,
Okay.
baby.
Just you and me. So we had a big discussion on, do we believe that aliens do exist? And so I first and foremost want to get your take on, what do you think? Is there extraterrestrial life out there? Or are we just alone adrift on a small blue marble?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little selfish. I personally believe, I think it's a little selfish to think that we are the only ones. Like, what if you never seen a humanoid before? What if you're like a praying mantis? I don't know, a huge praying mantis, not just like, like the small ones that we see. But what if you saw a human for the first time? You'd be like, what the fuck is that? Just like a praying mantis, like I like little memes and things, and like they put like underscoring music with the praying mantis, and it makes me laugh. And so I'm like, if I was the same size of the praying mantis, I would be terrified if I saw that. So I think from a base point of view, I think there's a possibility that there are just different levels of intelligence out there. And because we are in a certain vessel and body, we may or may not be able to perceive it. Like we have these eyeballs, like we are literally in this body. So what about other people who have a different type of body? Like, what do they see? Like, so
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Possibility for sure. Yeah, I believe there's a possibility. Why not?
Why not?
Doug, where did you stand on that again?
I believe in aliens more than I believe in ghosts. So that's
right. Right. That was the main crux of what we were talking about, was ghosts. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm inclined to believe in both to some degree.
Have you guys ever heard of like this ghost? Like, I don't know how to describe it really, because it's been a while since I've heard about it, but I guess there's this, I don't know how to describe it. Like some type of life form thing or whatever. That
like a squirrel
in caves. No, not at
all. Just to catch you up, Robin, Doug thinks all ghosts are squirrels.
Yes.
That is a gross oversimplification of the point I was making.
Doug
so
believes
I don't,
that if
I don't
someone
appreciate
sees
that.
a ghost or something happens, it's just squirrels.
No. What I was saying is that a portion of the time when weird shit happens around the house, we can't always explain it, right? Because we weren't there, we didn't see it. And I made the analogy of like, what if there was a squirrel that got into your house and knocked over some stuff, and you're like, there were ghosts in here, but you never knew it because you didn't see the squirrel come and go. You'd be like, it's something supernatural. No, it's just a squirrel. It came in, knocked over some shit, and left. You know?
Right.
Exactly. They're very intelligent, as well as raccoons.
Thank you. It could be raccoons.
Oh, see, now you've blown the entire theory wide open now, Doug.
Sorry. Raccoons are so intelligent, though. Like,
Yeah, they're real crafty buggers, let me tell you.
Doug lives in suburbia. He knows all too well how crafty they can
I
be.
remember when I used to live up in Rogers Park, one night I was coming home for my second shift at the hotel. It was like 11:30 at night, and I'm walking down the street, and there was like these two raccoons, and they both were like froze, and they kind of like backed up, and they were like, they just kept an eye on me. They slowly like backed up like off of a tree and then backed into a sewer hole, like just into the grate. And I was like, I literally put my hands up. I go, I don't want any trouble, guys. I literally said that to raccoons. I go, I don't want any trouble here. And they were like, neither do we. And then they just sort of like slithered into the sewers. And I was like, okay.
I understood exactly what you said.
Yeah, I was like, don't shoot.
Guardians of the Galaxy is a thing for a reason.
There you go. Exactly. In the chat, Slotty says all unexplained occurrences can be chalked up to small woodland mammals.
Not all.
I just wish they could, not all.
Not all of them would be woodland creatures. I'm just saying, if we had to put a percentage on how many of these supernatural occurrences were woodland and mammals, I mean, what percentage would you say?
I mean, if I'm Doug, I'm saying 99.9 repeated.
I think that's a bit much, but
Maybe 60.
I think that's a fair number.
60%.
I'd say maybe another Another 15% for just nature, like wind, sinkholes,
Wind.
fires, supernatural things, man. It happens,
Yes. Man, am I the only one that just feels like I'm just in this time warp where I just feel like I'm repeating the same things over and over and over? I feel like everything just reminds me of another thing, and then it makes me repeat the same thing.
You mean like
Is
squirrels?
that weird? Yes! Exactly like squirrels. Exactly like squirrels. Because I was going to mention, as soon as you said like sinkholes, it made me think of that movie Apocalypto by Mel Gibson again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, yeah. He was like one of those like sinkholes to like masquerade himself
There
so
you
that
go.
he can like go through the force incognito so that he can defeat his enemies. Yes.
That's right, and achieve victory.
And yep, that was the moral of that story.
Yeah,
And not being afraid.
don't be afraid and get them. I think were the themes of that movie.
Don't be afraid and get it. If I could sum up that movie in 2 ideas, it's don't be afraid and get them.
And get him. Get him.
Jared goes, how much can be blamed on cheaters trying to cover their tracks? Honey, I swear I saw a woman in our bedroom last night.
Must have been squirrels.
Ah, squirrels!
Yep.
Oh, that was adorable. I'd say going back to aliens, I definitely have more. I just think math is on your side with that. That just based on the number of planets and things like that, just that exist that we don't even, there's some we don't even know about. The odds are that there's some sort of life. Now, is it the same stage as us? Unlikely, just like you said, Robin. Are they going to be humanoid, or are they going to be insects, or are they going to be something else? It depends on probably the composition of the environment from which they grow. Right. And if it took us, however many millions of years it took us to get to where we are now, it could be like we go visit a planet or something. It's like, there's not shit here. But then millions of years later, there could be same thing where maybe alien life visited here, millions of years ago. There's like, this is just a backwoods planet. But now, I mean, Jess and I have studied the Fermi paradox for many years, and just talking about the reasons why we haven't seen, aliens. You talked about communication. Maybe they are communicating, but it's a frequency we don't pick up or don't see or don't hear or don't understand.
Exactly.
So, yeah. There's too many. Another terrifying one is the reason why we haven't heard from aliens is because there's a super predator out there and they know about it and they're like, we keep quiet because we don't want it to find us.
Is there?
Yeah, it's a giant squirrel.
I mean, that's a terrifying thought, right? Like we're shooting Voyager out there, we're sending out radio waves, everyone else is like, those guys, good, go over there, kill those guys, because don't come to us. Like everyone hide, and we're like, hey, you guys, we're playing sloth out here to the super predator,
Right.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, what about the moon? Like, what the fuck, right?
The moon I've never trusted it.
If there's one thing I ever wanted to get, it was the moon. I'm like, get it.
It's just there. It's just there looking at us.
Right? Thinking it's all better than us and shit. It's just silently judging us. Yeah. Fuck that moon. Fuck the moon.
Good skin with minor craters and things. Like, what is it doing? Come on.
Oh, man.
The person in the moon.
Yes.
Are you into I just watched today on I believe it was TBS or Fuse, one of the two.
TBS.
Fuse.
Sure.
Fuse? No, you're right.
It was alien insurrection, resurrection, resurgence, alien resurgence. That's what it was. What a horseshit movie that was. Yeah. Holy cow.
Pretty much all of them after aliens it's not good.
That movie was gross, but I do like a good alien movie. For the very first time
Same.
about a year ago, I watched Alien from start to finish for the very first time and loved it. And I know,
Yeah.
Doug, that's one of your
Yeah.
favorite movies. Have you seen that one, Robin?
Yeah. I have not seen that one in particular. But you know what I seen the very first Alien with that famous woman that her name
Sigourney
escapes
Weaver.
me at the moment. Yep. I saw that one. It was amazing. And then from then on, I don't know why, but it just felt so familiar in a very weird way. Does that make sense?
I would love to know more.
I'm just saying, like, it just felt like it wasn't far-fetched for me.
No.
And then, like,
Yeah.
and the only reason why I came to that conclusion is because I saw Prometheus. And then, like,
I'm
watching
sorry.
Prometheus and stuff like that, huh?
I'm sorry you saw Prometheus.
Wait, why do you feel that way?
Oh, I mean, how much time do you have? How much time we have left in the podcast? I mean,
Well, okay,
I'm
curious. Something.
I can sum up Doug's thoughts. I can sum up Doug's thoughts on Prometheus pretty succinctly.
Okay.
that's about right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so let's start at the movie Prometheus makes it seem like it's a prequel to Alien. Yes. I think we can all agree that's kind of what they were going with. But so much of this stuff doesn't add up. For starters, the planet that they go to visit is not LV-426 like it is in the original movie Alien. So for whatever reason, everything they were going to do, like simple step one, should take place in the same planet to be like, this is where it all comes from. It's like, nah, it's a different one. All right, and then you've got things like you have scientists who make the dumbest decisions in the world. There's a biologist who's like, check out this snake thing. Takes off his glove. He's like, hey, snake thing. Yeah, gets him. Like, they just take the worst precautions to do whatever they're going to do. And it just seemed like I was so excited for this movie because the trailer was extremely reminiscent of the original Alien. It seemed like a modern version of, like an updated version of Alien. I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a cool backstory because in the first Alien, there's that creature that's strapped into the ship, and it's got like the chest burster that came out of. You're like, what's this thing? Where did it come from? You're about to find out. Just kidding. You don't learn anything. And at the end of the movie, you're still kind of like, what? There's a squid that comes out of people. It's not the actual xenomorph, but it's like, well, then you gotta watch Covenant. Alien Covenant, the one that comes after Prometheus, which is also kind of a shit show in its own right. A little bit better, but it's so convoluted and nonsensical that it seemed like it could have been a really easy story to tell, and it had a lot of themes that just didn't resonate with me, and I walked away being very disappointed.
Can I just say this? I will say this. I feel like some of these movies, when you look at the complete body of work, okay, cool. But really, it could be a couple of seconds can be a very defining moment for the entire thing. And for me personally, was the ending when and then I hope it is Prometheus that I'm talking about, was the ending when everybody thought that they were getting away from Buddy. And they were like, yeah, he's dead. Because, like, there's two of them. Whichever one, there's two of them.
David,
like,
yeah.
One
The
of them.
androids.
Fassbenders.
Yes, two Fassbenders.
Right. The ending, when they thought that they killed him off or whatever, and then he ended up doing some cool apocalypto shit, and then he killed them off, and then the ship was going back to Earth or whatever, and he left a vial of eggs for the aliens. Can you imagine? Like, that one little moment was very defining for me. And
I'll say this much. You're referring to Covenant. Covenant, not Prometheus, but, which, again, I think Covenant is a better movie overall. And Michael Fassbender is phenomenal in that movie. And that was a pretty chilling ending to that movie where I was like...
It was so scary.
I was like, oh, Fassbender. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You just send chills down my spine, especially when he's like, and just like has like these eggs, like these aliens that he just sort of like, and he's just basically like, I'm going to impregnate all these people with alien eggs, and that's how it ends. But at the same time, I'm like, is that a clear prequel to what we see? It's still unclear of how we got from Prometheus to Covenant to Alien. Like, it's still not a clear line to me. And I think Jared Jervis in the chat said it best. He said they tried not to be a prequel even though it was a prequel, because they're like, no, it's not really a prequel. I'm like, well, what is it? Is it? Because it seems like it's a prequel.
Gotcha. I really admire your thinking on that, though.
Thank you.
I think that's very valid and very cool. Yes, I really do. Just for the continuity of what are you trying to present to the world, and is it easy to follow, and how much work do we have, how much underlying research do we have to do just to have a linear timeline in our minds? So, like, thank you. I really
I'm right there with you. Because if you really want to fuck with it, you want to think about what is time, right? You start thinking about time in a different dimension, multiple realities, and all sorts of shit like that. That's why I love movies like that. I love that sort of stuff. By the way, random side note, kind of relates to this too. I recently watched Ad Astra, featuring Brad Pitt and a Tommy Lee Jones. And the whole purpose of that movie was
just a Tommy Lee Jones, one of the many that run around.
Yes, one of the many Tommy Lee Jones clones that are around.
Right. Starred Brad Pitt and a Tommy Lee Jones,
not to be confused with B. Tommy Lee Jones. You know, who's trying to overthrow A to become the new A. That's how it works with those clones. But the whole purpose of that was that Brad Pitt's father is Tommy Lee Jones, and Tommy Lee Jones had been on this project to essentially go out to Neptune and find life in the universe. And it was a kind of a cool thing because they had colonized the moon. So, like, commercial travel to the moon was pretty regular, and they had a base on Mars, so you could see, like, what they were doing, what it took to... But the whole thing was kind of around the idea that Earth kind of sucks, people kind of suck, and the only thing that's really going to pull us out of this, to kind of take us to the next stage, is to find some other intelligent life. So it was kind of it's not a super great movie. I kind of enjoyed it. I'm not like, can't wait to go watch that again, but it was okay. I like the concept behind it, so...
That one definitely was on my radar to watch. I had heard a review from someone. They were like, it was painfully slow to get through, and that pushed it way far down my list to watch.
Yeah, not a lot happens in it, I'll tell you that much. So it's definitely a slow burn, but I thought the visuals were great. I think they captured the idea of being in space pretty well, not much sound, or if it's there, it's muffled, and, you know, I don't know, people seem to be pretty cool about just being like, my shuttle won't dock on your ship. I'll just let the shuttle go. And then if I need to get back to my ship, which is through an asteroid belt, I'll figure it out. It's like, meh. It's kind of like The Martian. I gotta science the shit out of this, you know, kind of situation.
I see that one. It's on my list.
Yeah.
The Martian.
I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take a look at it for sure. You know what's crazy? You just reminded me of that movie Elysium. You see that one?
Yeah, I know that one, unfortunately.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
You didn't like it? You must be a tough critic.
I don't.
Doug's an elitist.
See, this is
ironically, he would be up in Elysium.
No, I wouldn't be fancy enough for Elysium.
Yes, you would. Obviously, you're giving me those vibes right now.
This kind of breaks my heart because just yesterday at work, someone on my team, like, one of my coworkers got engaged, and she talked about how they were playing, you know, her and her fiance's song. I go, "What's your song?" And she told me, and I listened to it while they were talking. I go, "That's a pretty good song." And someone goes, "Whoa, that's high praise coming from Doug, because he's pretty critical on this sort of stuff." And I was like, "God damn it. Is that really already apparent with you guys too? Like, am I that?" Yeah, I'm opinionated, I'll say that much.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being opinionated.
It is if you shit on other people's dreams. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, people's dreams are their dreams. And I feel like everybody should really hold on tight to their dreams, because we're all characters in everybody's story, is how I look at it.
I think that's a wonderful way to look at it.
Let me ask you something, Robin. Have you ever seen the movie Rudy?
No.
Okay.
What is that about?
That's about a guy who shouldn't really be playing football, dreaming of playing football at Notre Dame and finally getting to play football at Notre Dame. He held on to his dream. Ask Doug what he feels about people holding on to their dreams.
All right. Let me start with this. Let me start with this, okay?
Everyone's a squirrel.
All right. Let me start with this. There is a formula that goes along with this that states that Rudy shouldn't have been following his dream.
I'm so sorry to everyone in the audience who's heard this 7,000 times. I'm sorry I did this, but I'm also not.
All right. So Rudy follows the story of a man named Rudy Rudiger. It's in the 60s.
Okay. Rudy Rudiger.
I know, right? He plays football in high school, and he's not very big. He's small, but he just has dreams of playing at Notre Dame. He's not super bright. He didn't get good grades, but the movie portrays him as like going to Notre Dame. He goes to junior college, and all he wants to do is like be able to get to Notre Dame and then play football. And so, spoiler alert, he does that, and then he doesn't. He chose to walk onto the team, and he basically earns a spot on the practice squad, which means he gets the shit kicked out of him every week.
But how?
Grit, willpower, like he just shows that he's got heart, you know? And he just
That's bullshit.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you. And if anything, I rewatched this movie recently. It's kind of creepy the way this guy goes about doing all this sort of stuff.
I feel like, me personally, I hate to tell on myself like this, but in the theater community, sometimes I come across as a very passive person, but then when I actually go to perform, I'm a different person. So it's like, I don't really display a lot of heart. You know what I mean? It just comes out in the work. So like, I feel like everybody should work for what they have. Like, you got to work for it, you know? So it's like a water boy thing, you know?
I think that is, you just gave the perfect review for Doug for that movie. Rudy.
Yeah,
it's just like the water boy.
That's immediately what yeah.
Well, here's the thing about this too, is that the stuff that comes into this is I
have to see the movie too. Like,
you do. It's a movie from the 90s that's like a feel-good movie about, you know, someone working hard, and he finally gets to play one play in an actual game. Woo! But the point is, he put forth maximum effort to do football.
Yeah.
Like, no one would ever question that. This guy worked his ass off and did all sorts of stuff. But his competency was capped at a certain level. There's only so much he was going to be able to do. So in this book called Strength Finders, which is a great tool for people who want to identify what their strengths are, the opening prologue to the book talks about Rudy, and it's like, if we had to put a value in his on like a number to his work ethic, it would be a 5 out of 5. But if you put his talent there, his competency, it's a 2. You multiply that, it's a 10. It said, now let's take someone else who went to Notre Dame and played, Joe Montana. His effort level, also a 5. His competency level, also a 5. His multiplier is 25. So the author was suggesting, like, hey, look, good on you if you want to try and do this. However, there's going to be a limitation to what you're able to do. And the author suggested, goes, what if Rudy had put that same effort into something that he had a competency for? What could have happened? And it's an easy way of saying, like, don't follow your dreams, but like, that's not what it is. It's like, I really like music. I'm capped at my understanding of musical theory. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. There's only so much I'm going to be able to do with that. Same thing with math. I think math is interesting. It's a puzzle. It's logical. There's only so much I can understand. I've met those 2 walls in my life for careers. I'm going somewhere. I mean, I can do that.
You got that.
But I tried to do 2 careers, one that involved math and one that involved music, where I had to basically step back and be like, I can't do this. This is beyond what I'm capable of. I love this, but no matter how much effort I put into this.
You know, in music. So then what was the breaking point for you in music, where you're like, yeah, gracefully by.
I'm glad you asked. So I went to Columbia College in Chicago, and I was studying to be going to grad school to be a producer, and there was an awesome producing class. We had an actual college band come in, and they were recording a track. And as we were recording, first of all, had a hard time doing a setup with the mics and knowing what goes where and how to actually set that shit up. Second of all, the big part was...
Did you put like the back of the mic in the front?
I put the mic inside the bass drum, and then I actually used the mics as drumsticks. Apparently you're not supposed to do that.
Got it, okay. That's why,
No, I didn't. But I was like, I don't know what any of this shit is. I don't know how to set it up. But... this guy was singing. He was singing to a track. Guys were playing drums, and our teacher stopped and said, "Hey, hold it up there. You were off. Let's try that again. You were too fast." And I was like, "I didn't hear that." He did it again. He goes, "I'm gonna stop." He goes, "You hit the wrong note. The pitch was off." I'm like, "I didn't hear that either. This is gonna be a problem because if I'm supposed to be like coaching people on creating their music, and if I can't hear that or whatever, I knew I was lying to myself. I was like, I'm gonna have to do a hard stop. I'm going to pivot to something else."
But Doug, could you not argue that it was something that you just needed to spend more time with? Because the guy who was saying like, "Oh, stop, you're off, stop this and that," was he also just in a 101 class?
No, he was our teacher. He used to play. He used to open. He played 80s metal. He used to open up for Cyndi Lauper.
Right. So he's had a few more decades of experience than you just walking into a 101 class, not being able to ace it and going, "Well, guess I'm not good at this." You didn't try.
Oh, I tried.
Worked at it. Yeah, exactly.
I tried, my friend. I tried. I worked at it, and I was like...
I'm just saying, man, if you had stuck with it, there's nothing that says that you couldn't have started to pick that stuff up.
I could have. It was one of those things of, there's two ways to learn that, right? It's books and then also experience, and maybe a combination of both. And it felt treacherous of me to go down this road where I was like, I don't fully understand music theory, and yet I'm supposed to coach someone on how to do this.
Music theory. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. Paul McCartney didn't know how to read music when he was in the Beatles.
I heard a lot of stories like that. Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio, like, he doesn't even read music. And those are little things that you don't need in your psyche to be like, I can do that too. I'm like, those are exceptions. Those are exceptions. Right. Those are not the rule.
Oh, you see, this is where you and I are diametrically opposed, because I sit there and I go, yeah, but like, you're taking all the magic out of it, all the fun, like, where fucking, like, you if you don't, Doug, if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you land amongst the stars. Sorry, I felt really gross saying that.
You die in space. You die in space where no one can hear you scream, which is the tagline for Alien.
Yes. No, but for me, I kind of agree when it is sometimes a special case where some people just have a knick and knack for some things, where they just have a certain ratio of something that just sets them apart from other people. So then it makes me question, okay, how the people are like, oh, when you work very hard at something, work ethic versus talent. Which one?
I think it depends. I think it depends on, because here's the thing.
I agree.
Because Justin, your point is valid in another way. When I started wrestling, when I was in high school, junior high and high school, I wasn't very good.
You were wrestling? Cool. At least you don't have the ears.
No, I have beautiful ears.
I've seen some wrestlers' ears, and I was like, whoa.
Nope. I don't have cauliflower ear. No, ma'am.
I get super icky.
Yeah, no.
Like really thick.
Yeah, they're nasty. Nasty ears. But I got my shit handed to me for a while, and there was another guy who I wrestled with who had been doing it since he was in second grade. So he had more experience, but he was lazy. Really lazy. And by the time I was a senior, I was consistently beating him at practice, like on a regular basis. And it was one of those things where, there's situations too where I feel like, if you're on a level playing field and you and you have the same skill set, obviously work ethic is going to outpace talent. Because if the talented person is, again, if you're a Joe Montana, maximum effort with your maximum competency, your multiplier's enormous. But if your work ethic dips, that talent will carry you, but
Right.
only so far. So,
Right.
yeah.
I agree. But I also feel like going back to having heart and having like the confidence to make certain moves, because it's like I feel like somebody can make the same choice as another person, but if they don't have the confidence, then it just doesn't work. It's like it's almost like putting enough power into a good punch. If
Yeah.
somebody feels like they can't really penetrate, they're gonna be like, eh, eh. But if somebody else is like, I'm gonna knock you out, they're gonna be like, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like confidence is huge. Speaking of confidence.
Yeah. No, I'm in full agreement with that. Yeah, I think that that's that magic sauce that you can't, the thing that you can't
Sauce.
put
It is
like it,
natural.
if you, it's because I mean I've definitely seen those people. Well, we've all seen those people who just, they seem to just skate by. Everything they do just works out,
Exactly.
and they just
Yup.
exude this like never-ending confidence. And you look at them and go, "How can you just be so fucking sure of everything you do?" And everything just seems to work out. And there have been times where
Maybe their parents are squirrels.
I think that might be it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right?
Loved it. Yes.
There have been times though where I've forced myself to kind of cop an attitude, or like be like, no, like just kind of feign badass and see what happens. And I gotta say, like, it definitely throws an edge into your, or a little bit more weight into your corner. I can't explain it. I don't know why. Obviously, you go up against someone like Joe Montana, you're not gonna, out football him, but you
Yeah.
still, I definitely think it does give you that edge if you have that confidence, that
And
je ne
that's
sais
what
quoi.
people like. People like the provocative. People like it. They enjoy it.
We got E207 in the chat. First of all, welcome back, pal. It's been a while. He says, what is the number one predictor of success at Juilliard? Is it one's teacher? Is it the number of concert awards? Is it your parentage? Nope. Number one predictor, always, always, always is practice. Grit, baby. Which, I agree. On a certain level, that can exist. But I would also still argue that if you lack the competence, if there's a ceiling for what you can do, you can practice all you want. But
Exactly.
if there's a ceiling there for you, you're only going to go so far with it. So I think it's a combination of that grit and that competency.
It's your perception of yourself.
Agreed.
If you can't picture it, write it down, picture yourself doing it, then 9 times out of 10 you're not doing it.
Yeah.
You have to see yourself in that position.
God.
Yeah.
Slotty goes, Doug is ants at a picnic. Sorry, man. And Water Speech has a good point too. So does Jervis. Like Jervis goes, but you can't get into Juilliard without skills already, right? And Water Speech says, once you get into Juilliard, you already have the competency or potential. So,
yeah, Jervis also said, plus Juilliard's expensive, right? So there's that.
Just has a name.
You said Juilliard's just the name?
To a degree, yeah. Or sometimes I feel like some of the people that go there, they just don't happen to be cyborgs or something. They just be like extra competent for no reason. Like
The cyborg enrollment at Juilliard is up exponentially.
yeah, it's one of the things they're really trying to do. It's an initiative to try and get more cyborgs in the school, and I think it's paying off, honestly.
I agree. Well, I never tried. Maybe I am a cyborg. Never know.
So there's acting at Juilliard, right?
That's primarily what Juilliard is, I believe, known for. Is
Cool.
is-
You know who else acts? Is Sascha Baron Cohen, and he's in this new movie coming out called Borat 2.
You beat me to the transition. I
felt it. I saw it in your face.
Love
We're
it.
like,
I
we're
love
going
it.
there.
I feel conspiracy. I feel. Yeah.
So
talk about a skill that is innate. Like that is like the skill that he has is again one that I feel like you don't learn. You're like that's something that he just has that he taps into.
What are we doing?
Agree.
Sascha Baron Cohen.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Like the fact that like being able to stay in character like that and then and do what he does without faltering at all is just that is a next level commitment.
Yeah, I gotta I gotta admit something here. I've never seen the first Borat, so there you go.
That's fine.
Doug.
I know it though. I know my wife. I know that. That's a thing.
Yag Semash. Let's all do the
I
lines.
would say don't watch it if there's children around because that whole penis scene was just it's stuck and ingrained in my mind.
Tell me more. Tell me about it in great detail and do it slow.
I will not tell you more because you have to see this. You have to see it. I won't tell you anything. You have to see it.
Yeah.
So Friday has passed, or is it this upcoming Friday that the movie is?
I think it's this coming Friday, right?
Yeah. It drops the same day as the Quarantine Files episode 3.
Watch both.
Woo!
Coincidence? Probably.
Coincidence? Absolutely.
Right.
Grateful. Ooh. No, but honestly, I have a certain appreciation for Sascha Baron Cohen. Like, I feel like he stood out to me from the first Borat, but where I actually had a real appreciation for him was Sweeney Todd. Like, I loved his work in Sweeney Todd. I don't know if y'all saw it. But...
On stage or the movie?
The movie.
I did not realize he was in that. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I do know that Johnny Depp was in that, but I have not seen it.
Oh, yep. Sascha Baron Cohen. What's his name?
Cohen. Sascha Baron Cohen. I like that better.
Yeah.
Midwestern guy.
Let's just call him SBC.
I was like, I know that's not right. Okay. So SBC. First of all, you're going back to AT&T and Singular again. Oh my God.
Which was the preferred provider in Apocalypto.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Most of the Mayans used SBC Global.
What? Okay. I can see that.
Moving on.
People's blue before they sacrifice them. Okay. Oh, okay.
But you were saying about him and Sweeney Todd.
Mm-hmm. He was the rival barber in Sweeney Todd. And the work that he put into it was just very unexpected. And like all of his work is like kind of provocative, unexpected, like, oh, I'm so upset, but okay. So he brought that exact same energy to Sweeney Todd. And it was very cool. And he wasn't a main character. He just had like a short, and it stood out so heavy. It was really good. He had good work. Yeah.
Water Speeds just in the chat said that he knocked it out of the park as Abby Hoffman in the Trial of the Chicago 7, which just came out on Netflix. I watched that as well, and yeah, he embodies the character of Abby Hoffman. It's amazing to watch him just kind of disappear, and to see like to have watched him on like the Ali G show and doing all his sketches, and then in his movies and all the comedy he did. To see him be able to tackle some of these more dramatic roles, it's legitimately incredible how the guy's range, and it kind of comes out of nowhere. But the fact with and Doug, you've never seen any of the Borats, but you know the concept of who this guy is. He's from oh my God, I just blanked on the country. He's from Kazakhstan. And he comes over to America and basically says all the wrong things and pisses everyone off. Like that's the general. To be able to stay in that character though, and in this movie, apparently he stayed in quarantine with two right-wing conspiracy theorists. He stayed locked up with them for 5 full days as Borat. Like ate as Borat, slept as Borat, just relaxed as Borat. Like that's next level shit.
So, Robin, you obviously have a lot of knowledge of, you know, acting and things of that nature. How hard is it to do something like that, to be in character and be on for like 5 days straight?
Well, I will say that, to be honest with you, I went into this profession very insecurely. I knew that from the first theater class that I had, I just knew that it was something that I needed to make myself a better person, to make myself socially better, to make myself integrate into society better, to actually bring something to the table if I'm having a conversation with people. Just like with this conversation right now, like just to be able to focus in like some of these things I've never spoken about ever. But it reminds me of another thing that reminds me of another thing that allows me to actually talk about it. And so I will say that my training in a conservatory based system, being around the exact same people every day for more than 8 hours every day, and then I studied abroad in Russia with these exact same people, I really feel like I developed a certain skill that I never thought I was even capable of. Like, just a marathon strength. Like a certain marathon type of strength where you're like, I'm strong in this area, but I'm getting a little tired out here by these people's personalities and the way that they maneuver through space. But I have to work with it because I'm a character in their world. Like I said earlier, like, who the fuck am I? So I feel like just having the idea of being patient and being open to learn, because I'm not the only person in the world, has been just thinking about it from that lens has been a very eye-opening experience for me. So I don't even know if I answered your question.
You know what though? It doesn't matter because that was really cool. Like I have dipped my toe into acting. Just dip, just like halfway of my big toe. I've dipped in it just a little bit. And I another situation where maybe if I practiced I could get better at, but I have a hard time overcoming the vulnerability. If you want me to shout and be angry, I got that. I got that down, no problem. But that's all my range is just big, angry energy. That's about the only thing I could do. Like when I watch, like you mentioned earlier, when you're talking about doing a scene where you had to come from like super happy all the way down to like the polar opposite. One of my favorite scenes in a movie is from Road to Perdition with Daniel Craig. He's at the very beginning of the movie, Tom Hanks is playing the piano with a guy whose name I'm not going to remember, but he basically this older guy is playing Daniel Craig's father in the movie, and this father figure loves Tom Hanks' character more than his own son, and you see that without words as they're playing the piano. There's this earnesty between the two of them, and you watch Daniel Craig, he's like, everyone's like, oh, look at this great, and he smiles, and then as the scene progresses, you see it's just like this sorrow, and there's just this deep anger and resentment, like that he just slowly comes down. It has one of the best lines ever. Afterwards, everyone's clapping, and the little boy's like pulls on his jacket. He's like, why are you always smiling? And he just leans down and he just kind of gives almost like a Joker smile. He goes, because it's all so fucking hilarious. And like the kid's like, huh? It's awesome. It's awesome. So, but I don't understand how to do that. I don't understand how to get outside of my present self and be like, I'm Doug playing a role, as opposed to Doug, go to this place, find these emotions and feel them and exude that while saying these lines that should mean something. You know, like I haven't been able to get there.
Yeah.
And I blame
hear
Justin.
that. I hear that. I struggled with that. Justin, you're the
I'm the worst. Like straight up the worst.
You're
I am.
hilarious. Justin, have you ever tried to
I've never taken any classes, never really like in earnest given it a shot. The most I've ever done is like for the Quarantine Files, like kind of played myself, if you will, or a heightened version of myself. But no, I've never really. I've dreamed of trying it. I would absolutely love to try acting, but the same thing where I don't like to. I have a hard time when I write the script. I have a hard time memorizing my own words. Like I don't know. Like when you like look at people who have 2-page monologues and they give it and you watch them in a movie and they bring you to tears. I have no idea how someone does that. I would
That's
love
bullshit.
to figure it out.
I'm gonna call bullshit. 2 words. Todd Hammer. Todd Hammer. You are on YouTube.
You're right.
In 7 episodes of a web series, sir.
You're right. You're right. I take it back. If you want to see acting at its finest, you find the web series called Who is Todd Hammer? And you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's me about 35 pounds heavier.
See, that's acting. You put on weight for the role.
I did. It was specifically for that role.
No.
Method.
No.
He's a method actor.
That's right. I really ate a pineapple, skin and all.
He did.
Yeah.
No, it did.
He committed.
Yeah.
He committed to the role.
No, but I would love to try acting at some point, like legitimately in something. I mean, that's the reason that you start a production company, right? So you can put yourself in shit. So at some point, I'd love to get in front of the camera. We'll see what happens. But yeah, for someone like Sascha Baron Cohen, I feel like it is what he does. It goes beyond. I feel like it goes beyond your traditional acting. There's something else that he attaches to be able to stay in that character, not break, not feel bad, not like there's like none of it ever slips away. And that is just
I have an idea.
Please.
For me personally, so I can only put myself in the shoes. For me personally, I think like I have to come from a place of nothing. And I have to come from a place of just being hungry for something and having nothing and just being like and just completely detach myself from my entire life. And I think and that's not easy to do. It's not. That's not easy to do for anybody, because if somebody's living a great life, they feel like they have great factors in their life that keep them going and all of that, like why would you want to be in somebody else's shoes when you can be in your own shoes? And so the sad part about being a good actor or theater artist or whatever is a little bit of sorrow. Like it comes from a little bit of sadness that it's a hole. There's a hole in your heart. Like so you want to try and put, for me, I don't want to say like you, even though people do that all the time, but like when they are doing it like explanations, they'd be like, yeah, you want to do this, or yeah, if you're in that situation, you got to do this, or blah, blah, blah. But for me, Robin, I've experienced a lot of turmoil, which I am really grateful that I don't look like I have. And so I'm constantly just trying to look for the forward thinking thing. Like things are constantly happening in my life where I'm like, well, well, I have something to fill my heart with now. Experience, just like having certain experiences in your life that fuels you, I guess. And just looking at the little bitty things, this small, tiny, small. Look at those
The little bitty thing. Yeah.
The little bitty things. And then they create a little puzzle piece in the hole of your heart,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh, I have that to grab off of, I guess, and I can bring this to the table because I got over that experience. And
Well, that's
so inspiration for me, yeah, comes from that.
yeah. Well, that's why I feel like you always hear people say like the best actors or every comedian is damaged in some way because that's where that comedy or that's where that
Mhm.
art is birthed from is something traumatic or something sorrowful or that hole that they have and they're able to use it as like a well and just pull from it. And it's I got to give massive credit to
It's a
anyone
hard
who can tap
profession.
into that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
I
love the
don't
way
think a
that
lot of
you.
people
I
understand
would
how
never be a
Yeah.
comedian.
yeah.
I would never be a comedian. I'm not funny. If ever I am funny, it's on accident.
That's the best kind of
I,
funny
I
though.
Yeah.
can't
Right.
purposely. I mean, yeah, but I'm saying like I can't prepare.
Mm-hmm.
I can't prepare something to present to an audience without feeling self-conscious about it. And then it goes back to that whole idea of
Right.
being confident about sharing your misfortunes that you express through comedy and and and, and it's not you don't even have to talk about yourself. You could talk about politics and blah blah blah, but it's all about your perception. And your perception is based off of your own life experiences, your perception, your misfortunes. I'm not going to do that again. Oh, I will do that again. But, so I can't share that. I'm a little too shy. I'm a little shy.
I'm better in the moment. I'm better with improv than I am with like preparing. This is going to be a joke that will be funny. I can usually tell if a story will mostly be funny. I can embellish a little bit here and there. I can be a better storyteller. But in general, like
Yes.
I hear something, it triggers something in me, and then like I have a reaction that can typically be humorous. But to be like, here's my 5-minute set, I'm like, I don't have the courage to do that. I've thought about it. I've had fleeting moments where I'm like, I bet I could write 5 minutes, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah. I feel the exact same. I'm so much better when I hide behind somebody else's words
Mm.
and I try to allow their story to be told. Like that's yeah.
Yeah. There's something every time that I have to anytime that I have to act and it's been minimal, there's one thing that I always tap into and it's kind of a ritual that happens once a week and it's very dark. It
Yeah.
usually involves death and it
Okay.
it it goes by the name of
Welcome to the Throwdown.
oh yeah, it's the throwdown.
My favorite part was when you said it involves death, and Robin's just natural reaction. She goes, okay. Like she just, her eyes got real big. She's like, that's cool.
It happens once a week?
Where's the hang up button? Because I'm about to click it.
Well, real quick, Slotty in the chat goes, we all know you have a file named Doug's Tight 5 hidden in a folder entitled Stuff for Work on your computer, Doug.
There's a couple of notes on my phone that I've recorded, just some thoughts, but it's not going anywhere.
It's well, today's throwdown is since Robin's episode of the Quarantine Files, episode 3 coming out this Friday, since her episode deals with aliens and being contacted, we thought it would be fun to do an alien-based throwdown. So today's throwdown is going to feature Mac and Me versus E.T. You're welcome. Doug, weren't you supposed to have weren't you supposed to do something?
What?
You said we had a new thing. Remember, I was going to do that. You were going to do a voice. We did it last week.
What? I was good. Oh, right. Hold on. That's right. Hold on. That's right. Hold on.
And now, featuring the throwdown between Mac from Mac and Me and E.T. from the movie E.T.
Perfect.
There you go.
So, Robin, have you ever seen the movie Mac and Me?
You know what? I have. I don't remember.
I was gonna say, but it's probably been years, has it not?
First of all, I was born in 92. Come on.
Right. So
It's been
you
years.
saw it when you were like 3 then. Yeah. I mean, it came out, I think, what, like, was it like 86?
88.
88. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, 1988.
Yeah, so that was well before my time. But judging off of these photos that I'm looking at currently, it
Well, if anyone also is a fan of Paul Rudd, if you ever see him when he goes on Conan, every single time he cues up a clip, and it's been happening since the 90s. Every time he goes on Conan, he cues and he's like, "We brought a clip of my new film. Let's go ahead and roll it." He rolls the same clip of Mac and Me, and he has been doing it for well over 20 years with Conan.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Wow.
So I would highly suggest looking up the Paul Rudd Mac and Me supercut. It's well worth your time.
Yes.
That being said, yeah, Mac looks like a little old man. He definitely,
He does.
yeah, he looks like a little old man. But in the research that we did, he possesses, oops, oh, I had an ad pop up right as the friggin' website was loading. There we go. And it's an ad for Borat. How perfect is that?
Thanks for listening, Internet.
There you go. Thank you, Google.
Oh my God, they're listening.
So he's got abilities with electronics. He's a whiz with power tools. He digs home renovations, and he really has a taste for Coca-Cola. So there's that.
I love this article. It says Mac is the first mysterious alien creature to behave like a bored suburban dad.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
I
Yeah.
like Mac more than E.T. already, just because I've seen E.T. and I haven't seen Mac and Me. Just from the photos and reading the synopsis and the plot, I'm just like, I enjoy it.
I guess
I feel like E.T. pulls on the heartstrings.
He's got empathy. That's what he's known for. E.T. is known. E.T. is a scientist. He's physically weaker and smaller than a human, but has superior mental faculties. He's also able to move objects with his mind alone. Empathy allows E.T. to feel the emotions of others in his group, while broadcast empath lets his group know his feelings. I don't think most of that's effective in a duel, though.
Well, here's the thing. Do you not think if he can move things with his mind?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking of too, Justin. You can move things with your mind. You can stop bullets. It's like a Magneto effect.
I mean, do we see E.T. stopping bullets?
We definitely see him moving things with his mind.
But okay. So then it goes back to the confidence thing, because it's like he's like, I don't want to hurt these people. And I don't know if that's really my personality. But would Mac do that?
Well, Mac has an affinity for power tools, so I think he's got a better weapon at his disposal. So,
but I'll say this:
E.T.
E.T.'s a whiz because he can make a contraption that can contact his home planet from a fucking speak and spell.
Yeah, is he gonna have that? Like, he didn't do that quickly. That took time.
Know. There was no distinction of how much time would actually passed in that.
I mean, I have a feeling if these two meet each other, he's not going to be like Rocket Raccoon and just going and pulling together some like thermonuclear bomb. You know, he's probably going to go eee, and then Mac's going to be like and just like, you know, carve him up.
Didn't E.T. heal with his finger?
Mac. The name Mac.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Mac attack. You know.
It glowed. See, but yeah, that's what I was. Sorry, Justin, but yes, the word Mac. Return at the Mac. Return at the Mac. It's powerful.
Yeah.
So I don't know the reoccurrence of the name. I don't know. So I feel like E.T. is for a certain fan base, obviously, and then Mac sounds like a construction worker.
Yeah.
Like he's ready to refit.
Exactly.
Like he's ready to lift up shit.
He's ready to be one of those guys from those Mentos commercials that's going to lift that car up so that lady can go away, when she got stuck.
Not the Mentos.
Yeah,
Not
man.
the Mentos.
Yeah. It's like, Mac, he's like, yeah, I got this. He's just, puts down his can of Coke. He's like,
And that's the point. I feel like I don't even have to see the movie to, like, tell. Because you can see, like, he's a little rough around the edges. He's not as, I don't know really if there's any extraterrestrial online dating sites. But I think that E.T. is a little bit more cuter than Mac. And so, sometimes they say the ones that look a little bit more rough around the edges, those are the protectors. So, maybe...
So, if E.T. and Mac were to have human accents, E.T. would be British, Mac would be, I don't know, Brooklyn, Jersey?
Yep. Yeah, easy. Yep.
Wait, you said E.T. would be British?
Oh, without a doubt. He's very, he's very prim and proper.
No.
He's very much, she's like, yes, phone home. Yes, phone home. That's a perfect British accent. And then Mac would be like, hey, get the fuck out of my way, you piece of shit. Hey, I got this fucking nail gun. It's going to go pop, pop right in your head.
I see that. But I appreciate both of them. I appreciate both. That's difficult.
I'll say this. E.T. shotguns beers while Mac drinks Coke. So I feel like E.T.'s probably practicing drunken boxing.
I'll say this much. Doug is nothing but a
master of accents.
So there you go.
There it is.
Wait, Jared said E.T. would have an Indian accent. Explain yourself, sir. Why?
Well, I'll say this too. E.T., someone pointed out, he exists in the same universe as Star Wars.
Don't care.
And again, he was able to lift a bike up with a child on it, several hundred feet in the air. So you're telling me that as Mac's coming at him, E.T. couldn't just go and just like push him away?
That's a fair point. I did forget about that.
But then E.T. is probably trying to escape, and then Mac is gonna probably throw a garbage truck at him.
I'm just telling you, like Mac's gonna be the guy who's like.
I haven't even seen the movie, and I'm just opposed.
Mac's the guy who's gonna be like all like talking shit. He's like, oh yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna poo. I got my nail gun, right? Like Doug said. But then E.T. is gonna be the calm one who's sitting there just kind of letting him spout off at the mouth. And he's like, are you done? Great. Yes. He picks up a fucking Honda Civic and just throws it at him.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think his telekinesis.
Or a Toyota Tercel, whatever you prefer.
More callbacks. I love it. Yeah, I think E.T.'s telekinesis puts Mac at an extreme disadvantage.
Both of them are appealing. I'm just saying that maybe like Mac may be a little too hot-headed, I guess, and like E.T. was probably a little bit just more strategic, and whereas Mac may just act off of impulse, maybe.
Yep, and I feel like that puts him at a disadvantage. I think E.T. now is the leader of this fight, in my opinion.
So, are we in agreement?
Yeah,
we thinking?
Where it went.
Yeah.
E.T.
All right, we're gonna say E.T. for the win.
Yeah, and right before E.T. crushes Mac's head with his telekinesis, he goes, "Phone home, because you're dead," and then crushes his brain.
Phone home. No SBC here.
And friend, let me clear something up with the chat. E.T. is not a Jedi. Not a Jedi. I don't want to hear that nonsense from any of you guys.
How do we know?
Okay.
How do we know?
We're out of time, but thanks for hanging. Jervis goes, I don't have a reason for the Indian accent. I just know it to be true. Okay, thanks.
Jervis also goes, E.T. is a Jedi. Mac is some space slut.
E.T. isn't a Jedi, but some of his people could be. I see what you're saying. So E.T. didn't cut the mustard? That's what you're saying?
Cut the mustard. What is cutting the mustard?
I don't know. It's
The cheese? Oh. I knew about cutting the mustard.
I don't think I'll ever be ready for that, Justin. That
Nope.
sound effect. It's too much, man.
It's so perfect.
It's too real. It's too real. Anyway, Robin, this has been an absolute pleasure. It's been so much fun having you back on here. Before we start wrapping things up, we want to basically give you the floor to, if there's anything you'd like to promote, if you want people to follow you on social media, if there's anything you'd like to recommend, whether it be books, movies, TV shows, music, the floor is yours.
Oh, wow. How sudden. Hello, everybody. My name is Robin Menkins. And my Instagram handle is Rob_Minks with two S's. So that's ROB_MINKSS. And then my name on Facebook is just Robin Menkins. But I just go on there to share memes because I think Facebook has the best memes. Come out to see the Mad Hatter's Gin and Tea Party. We close in December, so there's plenty of time to come and see it. Books. I don't really necessarily have any books, but I've been into numerology lately. So I would say, yeah, look into numerology because it's interesting. Yes.
Cool. Justin, what would you recommend this week?
Well, I typically don't watch horror films, but I'm a big Jordan Peele fan, and I knew coming into Halloween I needed to watch Us, and so I watched Us because it's on HBO. The first 8 minutes, I texted Drew. I said, "This is why I don't watch horror films. I'm terrified." And I normalized. I was like, okay, I'm in horror mode. I can do this now. And once the family shows up, I'm like, okay, everything from here on, I know jump scares are coming, and I've seen the monsters, so I get it. And I gotta say, I liked Get Out better, but Us was definitely worth the watch. I think what Drew and I were talking, and something I think is interesting is that Jordan Peele, I feel like, especially with his horror films, is like 6 months to a year, I think is what Drew said. 6 months to a year ahead in what he's saying. Like, he says it, and then 6 months to a year down the road, you're like, shit, that's really applicable to what we're currently in. And so I feel like there's a lot you can pull from the movie Us currently and go, oh boy, yeah, that's not good.
Nice.
Doug, what do you got?
Have you seen that
Robin,
movie,
yes.
Bad Hair? Sorry.
What is it?
I was just saying, like, that movie Bad Hair or Good Hair or something like that. It's like this horror film or something
horror
like
film?
You know what I'm talking about? It's a horror film. Yep. And it's very scary looking based off of the trailer. So you just reminded me of that. So yes. Sorry.
Terror strikes when a woman's
Sorry.
new hair weave seems to take on a life of its own. Is that the synopsis?
Look at the trailer.
Okay.
The way it sounds really generic, but look at the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this one thing says Bad Hair is so much more than scary. The Hulu horror movie delivers frightening truths.
All right.
Yes.
So it's on Hulu.
Yep.
So check that out.
And Usher's in it, so there you go.
Doug, what do you got?
If you guys looking for something silly, I highly recommend The Cabin on Netflix. It stars comedian Bert Kreischer. The conceit was that he works way too hard, so he needs to take some time to go to a remote cabin in California to sort of get away and meditate and settle himself, but he doesn't like to be alone, so he invites his comedian friends up. And so every episode is a couple of comedians that come up and hang out, and they just get into shenanigans, and it's amazing. My favorite episode involves Bert Kreischer, Miss Pat, Joel McHale, and Kaylee Cuoco. And Miss Pat is one of the funniest people on this planet. She speaks her mind, and my wife was having a bad day yesterday, and I go, hey, look, just watch the first few minutes of this with me. I think you'll like this. She started, she did this squeak laugh she does whenever she's laughing really hard. We had to pause it because she was laughing so hard. I'm like, nailed it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's just silly. It's got some heart in it too, but it's wonderful. I really enjoyed it. It's 6 episodes on Netflix right now. Check it out. They're worth it. They're really, really good.
Cool.
Woo. In addition to that, I also want to say we also do a video game live stream, everybody, in case you don't know. Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. We played the new Jackbox Party Pack last Saturday. Had a hell of a time. Super silly. And this weekend, I'm going to be digging out the brand new game called Baldur's Gate 3. It's based on Dungeons & Dragons. It's in early access. I'm going to play it. I'm going to create a brand new character. I want you all to help me. You can actually interact while I'm playing. You can help decide what dialogue choices to make and all sorts of stuff. So 8 p.m. Central Time, twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Come hang out. Watch this game. Let's get silly. Let's have a good time. Enjoy ourselves. Also, don't forget to follow MindGap on all social medias, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, @MindGapPodcast. Don't forget about our YouTube channel, where we post our full episodes there, as well as highlights from the show and our video game podcasts. And also don't forget to follow @MGP Throwdowns. That's the account that our fan Wolflore maintains and manages, and he basically goes through all of our previous throwdowns. He does the full research, and he decides whether we were right or wrong. He puts it out there, and it's really cool. So don't forget to check us out there. And then also, Justin exists digitally as well.
That's right. On Instagram and Twitter, you can follow me at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on
Spotify,
on Apple Podcast, on Google Podcast, on Stitcher, on all the places you can find and consume the podcasts. Like us, rate us, review us, share us around, subscribe to us, all those things. The big one is sharing. Just, copy the URL, share it out to your social peoples, and let them know that we're worth listening to, because it goes a long way when it comes as a recommendation from you. Also, 2east8th.com/mindgap, and then just keep an eye on all 2 East 8th's social stuff, because like I said, we've got episode 3 of the Quarantine Files dropping this Friday. I should know the date. This Friday is going to be the 23rd, and episode 1 and 2 already out, and then we've got a couple more after this one. We're really excited about these. We're really, really happy to have Robin in this episode. And we've got a couple short films on the docket as well. Sid Penrose is still on track to be out before the end of the year. So more news on that as it unfolds.
Yes. Robin, once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is always a blast, and you're always welcome to come back. And I just want to say, in all honesty, I appreciate you're so humble. You're brilliant. And I appreciate your insight. I love your just perspective on the world. It always makes me feel a little bit more at peace. So thank you for sharing your stuff with us tonight.
Somebody got to do it.
I'm glad it's you. So with that being said, Robin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed this.
So glad. So glad. And then also to our Twitch folks, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
Justin, thank you.
Doug, thank you, buddy.
And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.